In this video, we are going to talk about the center, the four squares in the middle of the board, d4, d5, e4, e5. Control them and you control the game. A pawn in the center does not just occupy a square, it threatens to advance. And when it does, everything in its path has to move. A free, mobile center pawn is one of the most dangerous weapons in chess. The side without a center is always reacting. The side with one is always threatening. Nimzowitsch called it the urge to demobilize, the center constant pressure to push forward and drive back the opponent's pieces. We will look at three examples: a pawn that rolls forward and chases a knight across the board, a rule about when to hold your ground, and a historical game where black finally destroys the center and wins. Here is the pawn roller, a center pawn with nothing blocking its path, forcing a knight to retreat again and again. The question is how black finally stops it. e4, e5, d4, challenging the center. Black captures. c3, knight f6, developing and hitting the pawn. The pawn rolls forward. The knight cannot stay on f6. Knight e4, not to the edge, back to the center. Bishop d3, developing and attacking the knight again. d5, black fights back with a pawn. White captures. The knight on e4 is solid. The d5 pawn holds it from below. The correct response to a rolling pawn is not retreat. Meet it with a pawn of your own, as black did with d5. The Italian game. White's plan is to build a mobile center. The question is whether black will let it happen. e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to c4, bishop to c5, c3, setting up d4, knight to f6, d4. The center is offered. The e5 pawn has held since move 1. Taking looks natural, but it hands white a free mobile center. Black captures. The pawn advances. d5, striking back. The bishop retreats. The knight advances to e4, anchored by the d5 pawn. Nimzowicz's rule: hang on to the center, so long as it is possible without disadvantage. The d5 pawn was not passive. It was the key to the knight. A real game. Francis Lee against Nimzowitsch, Ostend, 1907. When you face a dangerous center pawn, you have two choices. You can restrain it, surround it, make sure it never advances, or you can destroy it before it moves. Nimzowitsch called these imprison or execute. Watch which one he chooses. d4, knight to f6, watching the pawn. Knight to f3, d6, restraining. Knight to d2, knight to d7, e4, e5, black challenges. c3, bishop to e7, bishop to c4. Black castles, white castles. Black executes, capturing on d4. White recaptures. The e4 pawn still stands. d5. The bishop steps back to d3. Black captures the pawn. Pulverized. White's knight recaptures. Black's knight takes it back, and the bishop recaptures on e4. That's the execute method, destroying the center before it becomes dangerous. White is left with a lone, isolated pawn on d4, no support, a permanent weakness. Black is better, and Nimzowitsch went on to win the game.